You know, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably more like 10, they only released like 1 or 2 a year. You know, and it was fine then. It was fine. Just 1 or 2 a year. And now it's like 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like one almost every other month or every month. And it's just getting old, you know? It's the same shtick every time. The world's gonna end. Everyone's got to band together to you know, fight for the world. And it's just the same thing over and over. It's like we're watching the same movie. Just every single time. It's the same movie. And I just don't get why people don't understand that. Like, yeah, sure, they got different superpowers. They got different characters and all that. But it's essentially the same thing. You know, in Avengers, the world was ending. In Avengers Age of Ultron, the world was ending. In friggin' Batman vs. Superman, the world was ending. In Superman, Man of Steel, the world was ending. In Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man-ness, the world was ending. We're just sick of it. I'm just tired of superhero movies, Glenn. Anyway, what movie are we seeing? I can't handle it. I need to see something different. Martha! 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 Mom. Why did you say the name? Martha! Why did you say the name? Martha! Why did you say the name? Why did you say the name?
I had a dream. It was the end of the world.
Invasion.
I think it's something more. Something darker.
I'm tired of them.
You're tired?
You want to tell them what we did?
We're here. We happened to see that sequel to Batman v Superman. What is that? What is that movie called? Oh yeah, Justice League. Yeah.
What is it about, Glenjamin?
Justice League is about a group of unnatural human beings who are naturally powerful at being unnatural.
And then Batman.
And they're gifted.
Batman's just rich.
Naturally gifted. Unnaturally.
Yes. Once again, the world is at stake. The world might end. Starting with the very most highest stakes. And just starting at the very top. And then just continuing to plateau at the top. Until the law of diminishing returns happens 10 years ago to, how old am I? 18-year-old Michael Hicks. And he just gets tired of superhero movies, Glenjamin.
What?
He gets tired of them because it's the same thing. And then flash forward 18 years.
10?
Flash forward 10 years. And we're here, having just watched...
I was a 10-year-old and I fucking hated superhero movies.
The Justice League.
I said this is unreal.
The Justice League. So yeah, you guys know what the deal is, what Justice League is. Glenn, I'll let you start. You're our resident comic book fan.
For me, it's tough. Like right in the beginning, it started you off with immediate dread that we were watching this movie. At least, I don't know.
Super corny pop song
we
for the opening credits.
Me and Mike automatically knew because, you know, we connect with each other emotionally and physically.
We're lovers.
Yeah. We were just cracking jokes right off the bat, and we could just tell by the eye contact that we were having that this was immediately
didn't really stop.
Regrettable.
I am not anti-DC. Batman is actually my favorite superhero. Always has been ever since I was a kid. And I loved the Christopher Nolan ones. However, I feel like ever since the Christopher Nolan Batmans, they've just kind of tried to be serious and have taken themselves too seriously to the point. Being serious is not a bad thing. They take themselves seriously to the point where especially in the beginning opening titles of this, they were trying to say things about racial tensions in the world, and it's not the kind of movie that should be doing that. It takes itself too seriously, and when it does try to have fun, it's at its best, in my opinion. But then they turn around and become super, brooding, and I turned to him at one time. It felt like it felt like I was watching All of My Children, but with superheroes. The soap opera All of My Children. It was just so campy and corny and overly melodramatic, but I will say this was better than Batman vs. Superman. I don't think it deserves all of the hate it's getting, but it's certainly not as good as it could be.
My favorite part of the whole movie was the battle that was happening in Themyscira, the whole Amazonian world. Land. That's the word I was looking for. The Amazonian land, Themyscira. That was definitely awesome, and I loved that whole scene. And I kind of wished the whole movie lived up to that part for me, which is kind of impossible. But I'm a hopeless romantic who loves blood and glory. I didn't enjoy Aquaman's character too much. He was kind of like this. How do you even describe him? Like rock and roll, kind of punk, orphan.
He's the kind of guy who thinks Hard Rock Cafe is a fancy restaurant.
Yeah! A lot of the times he's just screaming yeah and stuff like that. And he's just a punk.
I don't know much about Aquaman other than no one really liked him until Jason Momoa became Aquaman, and now people kind of like him.
He looks great.
His
character is written poorly.
I think James Wan, who is directing the Aquaman movie, is a better director than Zack Snyder. So I'm hoping that comes through with the Aquaman movie.
Batman v Superman. Batman was the shit in that movie, for the most part. This movie, he was pretty much useless. Granted, he is human and stuff, but he was useless in this movie for the most part. And that drove me nuts. He was just really clumsy through most of this movie than anything.
Yeah. They overcompensated for the flack they got for him kind of owning Superman in Batman vs. Superman.
Which happens, people. What are their limitations at this point? What is their drawing point of them gonna fucking die when they get thrown into a wall while they're being, a human by a god, basically?
Yeah. Flash has superheroes, but he's not.
My man would have been crippled.
Strength is not one of them.
My man would have been crippled. Same with Batman, though, but still. I love superhero movies and stuff like that, but at this point I'm really getting tired of them just beating the living hell out of each other and there being no consequences. They're just like, oh, it's just a bruise, basically. Just a bruise.
I've got something to tell you.
What?
That's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're now just noticing it. Not to this extent, I will give you that. But it's been slowly building to that.
In the beginning, okay, that's fine. But now we're getting...
Like when Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2, when it was Tobey Maguire, maybe it was Spider-Man 3, got blowed up, but he, other than his face going... Nothing happened to him, even though that shockwave probably would have either knocked him out into a coma or killed him.
Which explosion are you talking about?
It's a meme now. It's a meme now. That's all I remember.
Oh, no, it's a meme now. Are you talking about the first Spider-Man where he
Was
gets
it
the grenade blown up in his face by Green Goblin?
Maybe.
There's a couple explosions that happen in his face.
Either way, he would have died if that were real.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's got spider strength. Spider would have died. If you ever thrown a spider into a fire, they scream.
Cyborg's limbs got ripped off and they just sort of put them back together like a Lego.
Yeah.
Let's get to the ratings. I don't think we really covered as much as we wanted to.
That's the rating system. We got see it, rent it, stream it, skip it. The holy rating system.
Visually, Zack Snyder's really good.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
He's got some good slow-mo, sometimes really unnecessary slow-mo. Character-wise, I don't think it really thrived at all. Story-wise, I don't really think it thrived at all. There's only a handful of really enjoyable moments in this movie. Some of the humor was pretty good as well. But overall, I don't feel like this is a movie you should go to the theaters and spend $12 or whatever it is at this point. I work at the theater. I don't even know how much it is anymore. So, yeah, that's not worth it. I feel like Rent It would be good enough, especially if you're into superhero movies. It's definitely not worth spending that much money on, but is somewhat enjoyable to an extent, to where I'd say, hey, go spend a couple bucks on this movie.
I would agree. It's not as bad as a lot of critics are saying. You know, they're tearing it apart. I think the DC fans would enjoy this. Marvel fans, wait for Infinity War. You know, what Marvel fans say, shut up. Just let DC fans like what they like. So if you're a DC fan, you're probably going to go see it anyway. So what I'm about to say doesn't matter. But I agree with him. Rent it. It's worth a couple bucks. Not as bad as a lot of the critics are saying, but I wouldn't want to spend money on it. So rent it.
The world needs Superman. I made him a promise. This is why I brought you together.
Ride ain't over yet.
My man. Continue darkness. More darkness. Get it? The opposite of light.